The middle class has long been seen as the backbone of the economy, but today, many are struggling financially like never before. Rising living costs, stagnant wages, and unexpected expenses are squeezing budgets and making it harder to get ahead. In the next few minutes, we'll explore why the middle class is facing these challenges, what factors are at play, and what steps can help regain financial stability in an increasingly uncertain world. Today, we will talk about why the middle class is struggling financially. So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Understanding the middle class. The middle class is traditionally defined as households with moderate income, typically earning enough to cover living expenses, afford a comfortable lifestyle, and save for the future. They often include professionals, small business owners, and skilled workers. Historically, the middle class has been considered the backbone of economic stability, supporting consumption, investment, and social mobility. However, the definition is changing due to rising living costs, income inequality, and economic pressures. Many households that consider themselves middle class struggle to maintain financial security with limited savings, growing debt, and little flexibility for emergencies. Understanding the challenges facing the middle class is essential to recognize why financial strain has become increasingly common. External factors, such as stagnant wages, high housing costs, and inflation, coupled with personal financial decisions, create a complex environment where maintaining traditional middle-class stability is difficult. Awareness of these dynamics is the first step toward understanding the financial challenges many families face today. 2. Wage stagnation and inflation. One major reason the middle class struggles financially is wage stagnation. Over the past few decades, many middle class wages have remained relatively flat when adjusted for inflation, while the cost of living continues to rise. Housing, healthcare, education, and transportation have become significantly more expensive, reducing disposable income. Even when salaries increase nominally, inflation often erodes purchasing power, leaving households feeling financially squeezed. Many middle-class families find themselves working longer hours or taking multiple jobs just to maintain their standard of living. This dynamic limits their ability to save, invest, or prepare for emergencies. Understanding the combined impact of stagnant wages and rising costs explains why middle-class families struggle despite being employed full-time or even having advanced degrees. It highlights the gap between income growth and living expenses, showing that financial stress is not necessarily due to poor money management but structural economic pressures that constrain middle-class prosperity. 3. Rising cost of housing. Housing costs are a major factor contributing to middle-class financial struggles. Homeownership, once considered a cornerstone of middle-class stability, is increasingly unaffordable in many urban areas. Rent and mortgage payments consume a growing share of household income, often leaving little room for savings or discretionary spending. The housing market's rapid price appreciation, combined with high down payments and interest rates, makes entering the property market challenging. Even families that already own homes face rising property taxes, maintenance costs, and utility expenses. This financial burden reduces the ability to invest in other wealth-building avenues, such as retirement accounts or education savings. Understanding the impact of housing costs is crucial because it shows that financial stress is not merely a result of poor planning, but also of systemic market conditions. For many middle-class households, balancing housing expenses with other financial goals has become a daily challenge, affecting long-term security and economic mobility. 4. Healthcare expenses. Healthcare is another significant drain on middle-class finances. Rising insurance premiums, co-pays, and out-of-pocket expenses often consume a large portion of income. Unexpected medical emergencies can push families into debt, particularly if they lack sufficient savings or insurance coverage. Even routine healthcare expenses can accumulate, reducing the ability to save or invest. For middle-class families, healthcare is often the largest non-housing expense, forcing trade-offs between essential care and other financial goals. Understanding how healthcare costs impact the middle class highlights why financial stress is common despite earning a moderate income. Many families struggle to balance quality care with affordability, leading to deferred treatments, financial anxiety, and long-term vulnerability. Addressing these challenges requires both individual planning, like building emergency funds, and awareness of broader systemic issues driving healthcare costs higher than wages. 5. Education costs and student debt. Education is often seen as a pathway to upward mobility, but it also burdens the middle class financially. College tuition and student loans have skyrocketed over the last few decades, leaving graduates with significant debt. For middle-class families, funding children's education or paying off personal loans strains monthly budgets. Student debt often delays milestones like homeownership, investing, and retirement savings. Many families spend years or decades managing education-related debt, reducing disposable income and financial flexibility. Understanding the impact of student loans explains why middle-class households can feel financially stretched despite steady employment. Education, while essential, has become a double-edged sword. It promises future opportunity, but can create immediate and long-term financial pressure, contributing to stress and delayed wealth accumulation for middle-class families. 6. Lack of savings and emergency funds. Many middle-class households struggle with inadequate savings or emergency funds. Unexpected expenses such as medical bills, car repairs, or job loss can create financial crises. Without sufficient savings, families must rely on high-interest debt, further exacerbating financial strain. Saving is challenging when wages are stagnant, living costs are rising, and debts are significant. Understanding this dynamic shows that middle-class struggles are often due to structural constraints rather than poor financial discipline. Establishing even modest emergency funds is critical to financial resilience. Households that prioritize savings and budgeting are better equipped to navigate economic challenges, yet many middle-class families lack the resources or knowledge to do so consistently. This vulnerability underscores why financial education and proactive planning are essential components of sustaining middle-class stability in today's economic environment. 7. Job security and economic uncertainty. Job security has declined for many middle-class workers, contributing to financial stress. Globalization, technological changes, and economic shifts have led to layoffs, contract work, and fewer long-term employment guarantees. Even those employed full-time may experience income volatility due to reduced benefits or fluctuating hours. Economic uncertainty makes it difficult to plan for the future, forcing middle-class families to prioritize short-term survival over long-term wealth accumulation. Understanding the link between job stability and financial stress explains why many households struggle despite steady employment. Without consistent income, saving, investing, and debt repayment become more challenging, leaving families vulnerable to emergencies and economic downturns. Stability in employment is essential for building wealth. Yet for many middle-class workers, this stability has eroded, creating ongoing financial pressure and uncertainty. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.